Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. So the time is currently 3:23 p.m. on the East Coast. It's April 5th, 2023, and I have a little article here. First, let me just say you're seeing a lot of Motorola discussions lately on this channel, and I know I sound like a fanboy, but I'm going to be honest, I am. There's no other reason for me to talk about it other than the fact that for me it's a good budget device. I've been rocking with Motorola for a while now simply because I refuse to pay unreasonable prices for a phone that I feel I'm going to be sick of within 2 years, regardless of what kind of phone it is. Especially when you're going with an Android. Like, I'm an Android over OS iPhone guy. That's just me. I like the platform better. I like the operating system. I like how it's set up. I like the customization. So I prefer Android over an iPhone simply just because of that. Performance wise, there's arguments there. Some people say an iPhone performs better. Some people say, the likes of a Samsung or a Pixel might perform better. It's really a matter of preference and how you feel, what you're looking for when it comes to a device, right? So basically, that's my preference, Android. And what I like about Motorola is it's very close to pure Android. It's as close to pure Android as you're gonna get. I guess aside from a Pixel, and most of their devices, you're gonna get a pretty good solid device for for very little money, or what's considered very little money. I just recently picked up a Motorola. Was it a Motorola G Stylus 5G 2022 with tax? Got it on Amazon. I paid $273. So that's $273. The specs are really good for the price. 6.8 full HD screen, 120 gigahertz hertz refresh rate, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. Comes with an SD card with another 256 gigabytes of storage. It's a great phone for the money. On boards with Android 12, and I believe it's going to be upgradable to at least Android 13. Now, let me just be clear. Motorola's are not the best with the software updates. However, most Android devices are not giving the proper updates when it comes to Android updates. Pixel was the leading brand that was giving software updates. Even they're starting to fall behind a little bit. We're seeing it slowing down. They're running late. And even their newer devices, they're giving, like, I think a maximum of 3 updates now. So I have a Pixel 6a. I'm told that's, it came with Android 12. Now I got 13. So I'm guessing 15 is the most that phone is going to get. That's how it looks. And, so basically, what are you getting? One update a year? Like I said, in 2.5 years, you're not going to want the phone anymore anyway. You're going to want something different. It's just because that's just how it is. You're going to get sick of looking at the same stuff. And launchers and all that customization just doesn't do it anymore. Those days that's 2010 and below, where everyone was rooting their phones and updating launchers every week. And, you don't even need to do any of that stuff now. These phones are so good now. They're just smooth. You don't need to change anything. They just work much better. Android significantly has improved greatly over the years. I had Android since it came out, and I have some old phones. I have a T-Mobile Tap phone, which is on like Android 2.1. I have a couple other ones too that might even be Android 1 point something. So, I've seen changes myself. I've never really been a big fan of purchasing the high end phones simply because of cost. I'm all about getting value. I'm all about getting the best phone for the best price. You know, and that's what attracts me to a lot of the Motorola devices. So let's just get into it. Basically, we're seeing that Motorola is launching Motorola Edge 40 Pro, and it looks like it's launched with a stunning 165 hertz display. So this article was posted a day ago, and it's by Tyler Leave. I will leave a link for this description. I will leave a link for this article in the description below. And I do want to let you know that it has not been released in the US yet, and they're not really sure when it's going to be released. But I figured it's something to talk about because it's at a competitive price. And we're starting to see Motorola raise some prices on some of their, more what's considered more of a high end device. We're seeing that with their a lot of their edge devices, particularly they're like in the $700-800 range, and it looks like they're taking like a cue from OnePlus. So I'm wondering if you guys feel like, is that a good idea? If any of you have Motorola phones, do you think that what they're charging, they're going up? It seems like they keep raising the prices, which they're starting to get a little bit closer now to the likes of Samsung and whatnot. Do you think that these devices are equal in any way? Do they even deserve to share a price point with someone that's even remotely close to Samsung's price point? So when you look at the specs, according to this article here, of course they're saying Motorola makes pretty solid mid-range phones, which we know. And then now they're saying that, of course, the Motorola Edge 40 Pro is going to be considered more of a high-end device. They're basically saying that some of the selling points are going to be that it's going to have 165 hertz refresh rate, when typically their phones have between 90 to 120 hertz. Like I said, my stylish 2022 has 120 hertz. I'm coming off of a Motorola 5G Ace, which had a 60 hertz refresh rate. I gotta be honest, it felt pretty smooth. So, I even doing the 120, I can't really see like a significant difference, although it feels smooth. I'll say it feels smooth. It doesn't really feel buggy. But it's just nice to have that. The price that I paid for that to get those specs makes me feel good as a buyer. So that's what I'm talking about here. You're getting at least what it feels value for a reasonable cost, So the article goes on to say that the 165 hertz refresh rate is going to be on a 6.7 inch 1080 by 2400 display. It looks similar to a lot of their devices. This one is going to have the 4 cameras in the back, square shape, similar to iPhone style, looks like. It's funny because the stylus that I have has the 3 cameras straight down, very similar to how Samsung has it. I actually prefer that, I guess because, I'm more of a, like I said, an Android guy, and it looks more like a Samsung. I don't really want my Android to look like an iPhone. That's just me. I'm not really a fan of the design of an iPhone. Nothing against iPhone. I think it does what it needs to do. I think for what it is, how you buy it, it's a great phone. It's a little expensive for me. I'm not a big fan of the design of the phones, but I don't knock it. I could use it and I could probably be perfectly happy. It's just, it feels weird to me to use it. And I have an old iPhone 6S, sorry. And, so I know what the operating system works like. I've tested other iPhones, And so it's not like I don't know anything. I know very well how the operating system works on iPhone, and it works just fine. It's just I prefer Android. That's just me. But so they're basically saying, of course, they're asking, would you even notice the difference between 120 hertz refresh rate versus 165? That's a good question. Would you? I mean, that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, besides the fact that you want to get the best specs for your money, like when you're buying a Samsung, when you're buying an iPhone, why are you buying it? What's the real reason? Are you buying it because it's popular? Are you buying it? I know for iPhone, their big seller is iMessage, right? So that's a big seller. If you have an iPhone, your friends have an iPhone, your family, people in your family have an iPhone, you're all connected. So I can see that sell point. And it's a logical sell point for a lot of people. The AirDrop from iPhone, like I said, the iMessage, the FaceTime, all these things keep you and your loved ones, connected. So I get it. you know. Now, something like a Samsung, you know, I mean, let's get real. Samsung makes one of the most attractive looking phones out there. It's been like that for quite a couple years now. Definitely when they did the S20, S21, S22, and now the S23. I mean, they are beautiful looking devices. Screens are big, nice, bright, vibrant. Colors are nice. It's debatable on how performance is. People are saying the battery is not as good as it should be. The screen flickers at certain brightness levels. I've seen comparison videos, so I mean, you don't want to really hear that when you're paying $1,200 for a phone. You want to hear that your battery's lasting all day. You want to hear that there's the screen at the brightest level is performing at its top promised level. So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is we got to think about, like, why are we buying it, right? So for me personally, I'm looking for the best device, a reputable device, a device that's going to get at least a couple updates, basically a device that I could use for at least 2 years for, $300 or less. Why wouldn't I jump at that? Going back to this article, it's saying, it's going to be a 2023 flagship handset. It'll be powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset. It will also be accompanied by 12 gigs of RAM and up to 512 gigabytes of storage. Yeah. So it's beefy. They're really trying to, I'm seeing that a lot when they're trying to beef up the storage. I think they're trying to reach out, appeal more to like content creators, vloggers, people like that, artists, that people that take a lot of pictures. They wanna play in that field, which is why they're trying to enhance their cameras too. We can see here that their main camera is going to be a 50 megapixel, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 12 megapixel telephoto with a 60 megapixel selfie on the front. So that's pretty good. The battery is at a 4600 mAh. Yeah, not bad. They should have made it 5,000, but perhaps how the design is, they couldn't do it. It'll also support 125 watt wire charging, 15 watt wireless, and then 5 watt reverse wireless charging. But 125 watt wire charging is like crazy. So that's insane. That's really good. So that right there, some good specs. So they're basically saying it'll be priced starting at $899, in euro. So that's going to be over 900. It's probably going to be about 1,000 in US, if they ever choose to launch it here. Of course, I'm sure they'll put it on sale. They'll run promotions. You won't pay that. Just like with any of these devices, you're gonna get deals. You're gonna get a new plan. They're gonna market it. They're gonna bring it down. But so the real question is here: what do you feel about this? Do you think Moto has the right to start competing in this field? We're seeing more of their devices, being enhanced, and they're trying to compete more in the high end field when they were more known for like low end to mid range. How do you feel about that? Do you think these specs, even though the specs are promised, do you think it will be worth it if you were to test, say, this phone against an S23 Ultra? Because this is the 40 Pro, right? So we're gonna assume that it's got the Pro title because the specs are beefy, and you can test it fairly against, say, a Samsung Ultra, Samsung 23 Ultra, or an iPhone 14 Pro Max, maybe even, or a 14 Pro at least. What do you think? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about mid-range phones? Do you feel like I feel like you'd be perfectly fine with something mid-range? Do you just gotta have the top of the line? And if you do, that's okay. Because you know what, at the end of the day, you need to be happy with what you have, right? I'm not going to tell you what to buy. That's on you. You need to do what's right for you. It's just, for me, honestly, when I break it down, if I can get something with similar specs to something that's 4 times the price, like I said, I paid $273 for the stylish 2022. I feel like if I was holding the S23 side by side with that phone, there's very little difference that I would notice. Yeah, I'm sure the Samsung camera is going to be better. Of course, Samsung makes better cameras. Motorola's not in the business of making cameras. Of course, they outsource their cameras. They get it from other companies, so, but that's my thing. So Samsung is, no one's messing with their cameras. They're good. They've been good. And they're better than the iPhone cameras, by far. Numerous of tests have shown that. I've tested an S21 versus, at the time it was a iPhone 12 Pro Max. I have some friends that have both, and I've played with both. I've seen pictures. Samsung beats the iPhone in that area. There are certain things that the iPhone beats the Samsung in. They have their pros and cons, right? And they're both good in their own way. So what it brings it back to is, how do you feel about it? Like, do you notice a difference? Do you truly notice a difference when you buy the Samsung 23, say, versus maybe a Motorola 5G stylish 2022? Other than like the fact that the camera's better, the processor is going to be a little better. It's going to be better on a Samsung. If you were holding them side by side, you were doing all the things that you normally do: gaming, videos, selfies. Would you really notice it, and can you justify paying that much more? And if so, why? Why? Like, how is it that important to you? If you guys want to share that, you're welcome. You can leave a comment below. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. I enjoy talking to you guys. I hope you like this video. And I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.